Hello and welcome to this episode of the Connected Podcast from Relay. This is episode number 579. Today's show is brought to you by our fine sponsor Ecamm and the Relay Give Relay campaign for a membership. It's our membership holiday sale. We're going to talk about that too. That's who's bringing the episode to you. My name is Myke Hurley. I am a professional podcast introducer. And I have the pleasure of introducing the Ricky Benchman, Federico Vitici. Ciao, Federico.
Hello, hi. I have been so professionally introduced today. I hope to not let the other co-hosts of this program down with my professional introduction. We are also joined by Stephen Hackett. Hello, Stephen.
Hey, boys.
Was that professional enough?
It really felt good.
Yeah, I know.
I think we've nailed it after
Great.
12 years together.
Yeah.
After 578 unprofessional introductions,
We've
we
made
got
the
there
turn.
in the end. Yeah, we got there in the end.
We're nearing episode 600. It's not that far away.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't feel like I don't feel like 600. You know, this show feels younger than that.
Yeah, well, we're very close on upgrade to 600.
Yeah, because you guys cheat and don't take Christmas off.
Yeah, and we've also done extra episodes like for drafts and stuff.
Mhm.
So our episode 600 for us is January 26th.
Yeah. I guess this is a good question. I think I know the answer. What show has the highest episode count? It's got to be MPU and then Pen Addict, I think. Let's see.
Well, yes, it would have to be Mac Power users. I don't think it's possible it could be anything else.
Yeah,
because the show is 100 years old.
Yeah, because we just did 824.
824, my
Mhm.
word.
Will the CMS break with a 4-digit episode number? Find out in 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a long time. We'll worry about it in 3 years. And
I
500
remember
days.
people were afraid of hitting episode 404 for the first time, but it was fine.
Yeah, but like, I think that's a fair thing to be worried about.
Nah, man. Ruby on Rails can handle it.
I mean, our website is, I think, is broken at less than that. So,
Hey, look,
I'm happy-
yesterday was all Cloudflare's fault. You know, like
that's true.
I woke
That's
up,
true.
you know, the Cloudflare outage had already been going on by the time I was like at work, and I'm in a text thread with some like IT guys in Memphis, and they were all having a pretty bad day. And I was like, yeah, my podcast website's been down for 4 hours. I literally can't do anything about that. So,
Yep.
what do you want from me? Anyways,
Yep.
follow up. Myke, you
Yeah.
have a MacBook Air.
I do.
Can you remind people of where that fits into your life?
So it's my main computer. So what I'm recording on right now is a M something Pro Mac Mini. But aside from that, all of my computing is done on an M2 MacBook Air. So this is all of my show prep, all of my email, everything that I do at my desk at work, and I take it home with me every day. So if I need to do anything at home, then I use that. So it's absolutely my number one computer. Such a number one computer. It's covered in stickers because I'm in love with this computer so much. I needed to make it mine. And it's fully mine and I love it, but it's getting slow and it's chugging sometimes. This machine is it's letting me down. I don't know if I mentioned this on the show, but a couple of days ago weeks ago, I came to my Mac and it just said, you run out of system memory. You have to quit everything. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That's not good. That's not good. I think it's like it's either a 12 or 16 gigabyte RAM. It might be more, might be 24 or something. I definitely would have gone for a bit extra. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with that thing. But Ingmar wrote in and said, a while ago, Myke mentioned that the system stutters when text messages come in. I don't remember that being the case, but that could have been the case. Is Apple Intelligence enabled? I had a similar experience on my M1 MacBook Pro. Since disabling Apple Intelligence is running fine again, I assume it runs the LLM to summarize notifications, which causes the stuttering. I'll have to check. I mean, honestly, at the moment, it's chugging just to switch between apps.
Jeez.
It's just this thing is it's getting a bit old, which is a shame because it's not that old. Like, and I don't want to get rid of this computer. I have no desire to upgrade it. So maybe I'll try this. Maybe I do have Apple Intelligence on my Mac. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't think it makes my Mac experience better in any way.
No.
I think. It actually makes it annoying. I'm going to turn it off. Yeah.
That's actually a good question. Now that it's been a year since the first wave of Apple Intelligence features came out, do we actually use it? Because
I am a sicko who actually enjoys notification summarization on my iPhone.
No.
Interesting.
No.
I don't know what to tell
No.
Fascinating.
I don't know what to tell you. I find it useful.
How many times do you think someone in your life has died because?
Never. It never. Look, those things happen, and you always see them because people post them on threads. But like, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? I actually say that I think I did have something weird happen a couple of weeks ago, but I don't remember what it was. But it also does the priority notifications, which, it's fine, But yeah, I use it. I don't know what to tell you. I'm the only one, but I do use it. But I don't care about it on my Mac because notifications on the Mac is useless and a disaster. Because it seems like no matter how many versions of macOS they go through, they just refuse to do anything to make the notification center window any better. And if anything, just make it worse every time. Yeah, I think I've just set a task in Todoist. Once this episode is done, I'm going to turn off Apple Intelligence on my MacBook Air, and I will report back if I see any change.
Yeah, I have it on my M4 Max, but I don't have the notification summaries on anywhere. My phone, anything. I don't have the priority notifications turned on anywhere, and I don't use their writing tools. So I honestly don't know why I have it on. I think I have every feature of it off.
Yeah, you're not doing anything.
I like the fun Siri animation. And if you have, I learned because my wife told me to not turn Apple Intelligence on her new iPhone. If you have it off, you get the old Siri interface, and I like the rainbow border. So
yeah, the new one is cool.
That's
cool.
enough of a reason.
It's cool. It's
cool. About 3 gigabytes of memory.
Yeah. It's cool even in CarPlay. So, what about you, Federico?
I have it on. Basically, never use it if not for the cute Siri animation that I like. That's how they get you, man. The Siri animation is like the emoji of Apple Intelligence.
Yep.
You upgrade just because of it. But I'm sure there are the Apple Intelligence power users out there. And I could see an argument for the use model action in shortcuts, but not with the foundation model, with ChatGPT. I can see, I mean, because I have made those shortcuts for Mac stories readers, I can see an argument for like keeping Apple Intelligence because you get to keep the use model action in shortcuts. But boy, is that a niche.
What about Gemmoji? You not using Gemmoji?
Oh, I am using Gemmoji. They're fun.
Nah, I'm not.
What about Image Playgrounds?
I am not. No. Yeah,
weird.
I tried last year, created some really questionable images and never touched it again.
I don't think I've ever met anyone who uses these image playgrounds like non-ironically.
Yeah.
Like Gemmoji, I have made some decent Gemmoji. My favorite Gemmoji that I've ever made was a Gemmoji interpretation of the trophy that Tim Cook gave Donald Trump. That's the best one. I'm gonna send it in our group chat.
Okay,
again.
I'll do a photo of it in the show notes.
Yeah, that's the best one that I've made, which is that one. Outside of that,
that's a CD on a pedestal.
Yes, but I mean that's as close as I could get. But like when you see that, you know what that is. You know what I mean? I asked for a glass disc on a gold stand or something like that. If someone can make a better one, then go for it.
It looks like if you were really fancy in the 90s and like you had a multi-CD player and it like presents you the disc to put in.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, here you go. Here's the new Shania Twain or whatever. There you go.
But like what's great about this Gemmoji is if someone's talking about this like in a group thread or whatever, I can just send that and people know what that is, which is great, That's a great Gemmoji. The rest of the Gemmoji, not so good. Oh, there's one other good one, actually, which is an eagle with the body of an American flag.
Yeah, that one's good.
Which which I send also, ironically, to many of my friends.
Yeah.
But I said this before though. Gemoji, I think, is just a good feature. Like I do just think it's a good feature, and I think it got even better when they let you combine the two emoji together, right? Like it's a good feature that exists. That's for me, and I use the notification summaries. I don't know why, but I do. Aside from that, like there isn't really anything, and I just don't think that I needed an entire Apple Intelligence like AI system to help me combine two emoji together. You know what I mean?
These are good. There'll be a link in the show notes for people to check this out.
Poor John. I'm just sending these Gemoji in our group thread.
I opened the connected
any
thread.
idea what's going on in it? Yeah, I don't know. It's just the first one that was there, and I just hit
don't worry,
so.
but don't worry about it. John always knows. John knows.
John knows.
John knows.
John knows. Anyway, back to the follow-up.
Oh, yeah, we're doing follow-up.
Wrote in. Yeah, we're still in follow-up. Maximilian wrote in and said, in reference to discussing pinned conversations in iMessage on episode 578, all I want from Apple is for them to allow me to pair what conversations are pinned based on my focus mode. When I'm at work, I'd love for my boss and coworkers to be quickly accessible, but I don't need them there when I'm at home or on the weekends.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is just proof of there needs to be more work put into the pinned messages feature. Like that's a good thing, but it's not what I would want, but I could see how that would be useful. But just let me just do more of them. Like I don't need the circles to be that big, let me do more of them.
Yeah. This comment really struck at like the heart of a fear that I have about modern Apple is that there's no one in charge of making sure, seemingly, no one in charge of making sure that features are implemented equally. Like Mail has focus modes that basically kind of do this. They turn accounts on and off. But Messages doesn't, right? You can use some SF symbols or emoji and reminders, but in Maps, to have a pin, you have like 3 icons to choose from. Like Apple has these technologies, but they're not applied evenly throughout the system, and I don't like that. It bugs me that no one is paying attention to those details, seemingly.
Well, I will attempt to be fair to Apple here and say that like there is some messages function in focus filters. Like it can filter your conversations, just not your pins, right? So you can say like, just show me my coworkers, you'd set a list, or just show me my, right, and that will turn on and off with focus modes, but it's not changing the pins. So I'm agreeing with you, but I'm also attempting to head off the follow-up.
Sure. Okay. That's fair.
Mathas wrote in and said, the issue with iPad software as a third-party developer comes down to revenue. If you make a professional tool for macOS, you can easily charge $50 or more. But history has shown us that if we try to charge the same, iPadOS users revolt due to Apple's push to make App Store or App Store apps as cheap as possible. Users on iPadOS expect everything to be free, or if not free, something like $5 is the maximum that you can charge.
Yeah, and whose fault is that?
I actually don't know. Whose fault is that?
Well, you could argue that 15 years ago, even more, 17, Apple set a precedent, and they, there could have been an alternative timeline in which 3, 4, 5 years into the App Store, maybe Apple listened and said, developers of desktop class software, they're asking us to support pricing models that maybe also support higher prices, like paid upgrades, for example. And instead, very clearly, they went into the subscription route rather than, desktop level pricing. And so I think that sort of thing cuts both ways, That's the sort of experience that you get these days on the App Store. And I think it's quite ironic that Apple tried to make a push for desktop class software years ago on the iPad, but the problem is that you don't really have the pricing structure, you don't have the sort of economy on the App Store to support a more classic, authored maybe level of desktop software. And I think it's even more ironic that you nominate for one of the finalists for the App Store Awards this year on the Mac is Acorn, which is exactly the sort of experience that could exist on iPad but does not exist on iPad, partly because you cannot have the pricing model to support that sort of experience on iPad OS. So
does subscriptions not count as the pricing model?
What about how many Mac apps, including Acorn, that don't have subscriptions? They have a more traditional pricing system.
They have a pay for updates, which you can't do in the App Store.
Sketch, I think, is one of them.
Where essentially the developer is hoping they will make $50 a year or whatever it might be, but they're trying to convince you each time to give them another $50 for this year's features or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Where, like, for developers, I actually think the subscription model is better for them. Like, but it's not what users want.
Yeah.
I think it's better for a developer to get $50 every year rather than having to try and like bundle up a set of features to offer a price for.
Yeah.
But it's just not the way that the world has gone. It's not the way that people value software, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Hey, speaking of software
and developers,
Widget is hiring, which is very exciting. There's a link in the show notes. But in short, we are looking for a graphic designer to help us with our widgets and wallpapers and some stuff in our other apps, Pedometer++ and Sleep++. But primarily Widgetsmith. Looking at about 20 hours a week. We've got a whole page you can go look at. But if you're interested in that, and after you read through this and you feel like, hey, my skills line up with this, shoot us an email. There's an email link on the page, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, it's in the show notes or widgetsmith.app/jobs. I will hype it up here and say, like, working on Widgetsmith, like helping design widgets for Widgetsmith, your work will be seen by just an astronomical amount of people.
Yep.
Like, this is quite I think an incredible opportunity for a designer. So please, if if this is the kind of thing that interests you, please reach out. We're very excited about this as a group, and we hope that we will find the right person.
Yep. If your portfolio is full of Genmoji,
It's fine. It's fine, like maybe they made it themselves. Maybe it's like fake Genmoji.
And
they just generated their own emoji. They generated their own emoji, Yeah. I would love it if we could hire someone from our audience. I think that'd be super cool.
Super cool. So, check it out. Federico.
Hello. Just quickly, I wanted to mention Google Gemini 3. So this is the latest release by Google. Gemini 3 Pro is out as of a couple of days ago. Today they released the Gemini 3.0 Pro Image, which is their image generation stuff.
What is wrong with company?
Do it on the same day.
I know it's
no. You guys need to understand.
We need to understand. Please,
you need to understand how this works in the scene.
But I don't like the scene. It's too confusing.
Well, I don't care. I'm just telling you how it works.
Okay. Okay.
There are, as I told you, in total, if you count the big American companies and the Chinese ones, there are essentially 9 companies worldwide that can ship these big models, right? And it seems that there's an ebb and flow to these companies and to these models. And so every once in a while, there's a specific week when a company decides, we're going to announce our next big thing, our next big model. The other companies, to sort of steal their thunder, they also release stuff the same week. That's typically how it goes.
Just sitting on stuff like all the time, waiting for somebody else to go first? It's very odd.
It's very odd. I don't know exactly how it works. What I can tell you, so about Gemini 3, I had early access to both Gemini 3.0 and the image generation stuff. Couldn't care less about the image generation stuff personally. Seems to be quite impressive, not really my thing. I also had access to the text model, Gemini 3. I'm kind of disappointed by it. So this model seems to be the new state of the art in a whole bunch of benchmarks. there's a whole conversation to be had about companies now optimizing for those benchmarks. Like it's actually called the benchmaxing. Is often referred to, like they try to specifically optimize the model for specific tasks that are then measured in these benchmarks. So Gemini 3 is topping all of the benchmarks aside from coding, where as of yesterday, OpenAI now has the best coding model in the world, like 0.7% better than Claude, but whatever. I didn't really like Gemini 3. I found it very bland, and I really dislike the Gemini app. I thought the Gemini was gonna offer some kind of integrations now, like MCP or external tools. No, it just works with Google stuff, which I understand. But I don't know. I found it quite boring and bland. And then yesterday I was comparing some outputs between multiple models, and I don't know. I got better results out of Kimi K2 and Claude than Gemini 3. And there's also the classic Google problem that is now occurring in separate, like in distinct ways, but it's the same problem, which is Google has too many similar things. Yep. That are powered by Gemini. For example, there was this post by Ethan Malik saying that Google now offers 4 different ways to talk to chatbots about academic papers, and by my count, they offer 4 different ways to code with Gemini. So you have the Gemini 3 chatbot. You have Jules, which is a coding agent. You have Gemini CLI, which is a terminal agent. And then you have Google Anti-Gravity, which is their new desktop IDE, sort of like VS Code fork. So this is the classic Google, pretty much just like in the Google messaging days that they used to have like 4 or 5 different messaging apps. Now they have 4 different ways to use Gemini for the same tasks. So fragmentation will always be Google's issue, it seems. Yeah. And look, I'm sure that this is a really big and powerful model. I'm just saying that with the prompts that I tested and sort of like a general vibe check, I found it pretty bland myself.
Is that not just like a thing for Google? For Google?
It is a thing for Google, and then there are specific issues of Gemini. Like, for example, Gemini has never been as good as Claude or GPT-5 at following your instructions. Like, for example, let's say you're vibe coding a simple HTML web page, and you tell Claude or ChatGPT, like, don't touch anything else, but make this change. Like, don't touch everything else is working, but make this specific change. And chances are that Sonnet 4.5 or GPT-5 will do what you ask. Like, they will leave the rest alone, and they will change just the specific thing that you're asking about. Gemini will just rewrite everything. Will just say, yes, I have identified the issue. Here's your new web page. And you're like, no, I asked you not to touch the rest. So Gemini has always had that tendency to do that. And it seems like Gemini 3 continues to have that. And yes, it's always been like imagine the Venn diagram. Like, you have Grok, which is absolutely unhinged, and then you have GPT 5.1, which is now trying to be a little more emotional, a little more like 4.0. Then you have Claude. Claude is the fancy guy, the academic guys. Claude is like, let me tell you a story. Claude is the more poetic one. Go figure. They ripped off 1 million books to make it talk like that. And then you have Gemini, which is like supposed to be, I guess, like the nerdy scientist of the bunch. I just find it pretty boring, to be honest. So give it a try, I guess, but not really for me.
I really struggle with this, it feels like people that are more plugged in to this scene than I am, which includes you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there is a lot of moving backwards and forwards between whoever's best.
Yes.
I just feel like I have not got the desire or energy to do that. Right. Like to be like, all right, now I'm going to go here. Now I'm going to go there. Now I'm going to go here. Because it feels like it feels like in 2 weeks' time, there's a better one. And it seems so annoying.
That's the beauty of it for me, because it's giving me that energy that I was missing from early App Store days. And I've been, and that part of me has been dormant for like a long.
I can absolutely see why it tickles your brain, right? That like, here's a new to-do app, here's a new to-do app, here's a new, like it's like that.
I started Mac Stories because of that feeling.
Yeah.
And I have been unable to satisfy that feeling for a long time. And so this, yes, it's frustrating. And it's a huge waste of time if you look at it from that perspective. But there's also, for some people, the beauty of it, it's like embracing the instability of it all.
Sure. No, I get it. But like for me, at least, the difference here compared to things that have come before, like those early App Store days, it's like if I'm just using ChatGPT, I've just got to give it like a few months and like it will just improve again.
I think it's helpful with these things too. And I can send you a short. I know that you don't like to read, but there's a really good article by author and he's a professor at Wharton, Ethan Malik. There's this this article titled "An Opinionated Guide to Using AI Right Now." It's like a very simple guide to like, okay, what should I use? And the gist of it is like, use any modern reasoning model and you're gonna be fine.
What would that be? Like if like ChatGPT were thinking or whatever?
I personally dislike ChatGPT. I'm a Claude person.
Oh, I saw you posting about this. You didn't like the personality. You know, it's got new buttons where you can like.
Yeah. But it's not just about that. I appreciate the more of the anthropic mindset of like reject slop as much as possible, like images and fake videos and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I don't. Well, for one, Sora's not here.
Yeah, but like general, I get, for my taste, better vibes from Anthropic than OpenAI.
Okay.
But the gist of the article is, pick a reasoning model today, you're going to be fine. And then to really evaluate how AI is changing, check in twice a year. Like observe the progress every 6 months and you're going to see the progress. If you just stay tuned in on a week by week basis and you don't want to, you're going to lose your mind. Instead, check in twice a year, every 6 months.
Well, to like see what else is out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that. Yeah. That's pretty fair.
But yes, Gemini 3 is out. Not really for me. Some people like it. I don't.
This episode of Connected is brought to you by Ecamm. If you're a Mac user and you're creating video or podcast, you should check out Ecamm. Ecamm Live is the all-in-one studio built exclusively for the Mac. So it looks, feels, and performs like a native pro app should. To a lot of us, that's super important. A lot of tools for video and audio production aren't all that native to the Mac. They feel weird. They don't know what's going on with the Mac OS multimedia system. Ecamm works excellently. So if you're live streaming, recording a podcast, producing training videos, whatever you're doing, Ecamm gives you broadcast level control with drag and drop simplicity. You can switch cameras, share your screen, cue overlays, and control audio, all without ever leaving your Mac. And one of my favorite features of Ecamm is because it feels so native, it's really easy to learn. It works the way you expect it to. So you can easily brand your show with things like titles, graphics, and lower thirds. And you can pull in guests via interview mode or record multi-track audio for perfect post-production. And if you're into automation, Ecamm works beautifully with tools like the Stream Deck and Loopback, as well as many Mac tools you already know and love. You can upgrade to Pro and unlock Ecamm for Zoom. This is really cool. You can feed your polished video setup into Zoom, meeting a webinar. You can share Zoom comments on screen, and you can even capture participant audio and video separately, each person separately, for easy post-production work. Right now, new customers can get Ecamm's best offer of the year with 40% off annual plans in their Black Friday and Cyber Monday deal at ecamm.com. E-C-A-M-M, ecamm.com. That's 40% off annual plans between now and December 2nd. Our thanks to Ecamm for supporting the show in all of Relay.
Are you ready for iPhone Pocket, the Myke Hurley review?
I am so glad that you pivoted away from tvOS to this.
Yeah, I'm now about phone wearing, even though I don't do it, but I am interested in it. So we're going to start off with some follow-up that we got to put this through in a bunch of different ways. So I'm going to start with Joey. The phrase "a piece of cloth" that Apple refer to the iPhone Pocket in their press release actually is referring to a specific series of art pieces by that name created by Myke. So I will put a link in the show notes to a collection at the Met, which is showing this. It's essentially, this was an idea of creating fashion and clothing with kind of this like woven material process. So I'll go to what Alex is saying here. So Alex, another person, wrote in, a piece of cloth, or APOC, was the creation of a garment that is cut directly from a single piece of woven fabric. This is an Myke term, not an Apple term. The show that this innovation originally appeared in demonstrated a new way of creating a garment through 3D knitting. Garments are woven as one piece and then cut to form. And the models in Apple's press release are wearing a piece of cloth, or APOC able, which is a line by Myke. And I wish I would have thought of this, because I follow someone on Instagram who he's like a fashion designer, and he makes product in Japan. And there is like a way that t-shirts, there are these really expensive t-shirts that you can buy from Japan that are made on these like loom, like weaving machines, where it weaves them as one continuous thing. And apparently, I think it's called like ring spun or something like that. I may have just made that up. But anyway, there's a term for it. Apparently, it makes for a nicer feeling piece of clothing. And so that's what this is. The problem is, they should have just said this. Why? Like, so a piece of cloth is in quotation marks in Apple's press release. But I thought, like everybody else did, assumably all the people, except for the people who didn't know about this, that was just like a quote from Myke of like, this is what our inspiration was. It was a quote, a piece of cloth. But no, it's actually referring to a thing that the titular founder of the company created as an art piece, but then turned into a way in which some of their clothing is made. They used the same process in the creation of the iPhone Pocket. So it is from this 3D knitted piece. So it's like this, I guess it's just, and I can kind of see it when I look at it, that it's essentially like it's just made in one piece and then sewn together, I guess is the way that it's done. So interesting. The context would have been great, but maybe this shows something about like they are creating this product for a specific type of person that maybe would just know this. I mean, this is kind of getting back to some of what we were talking about last time as to who is this for. By the way, I have been checking throughout the week. I have not seen any photos of Ariana Grande with an iPhone Pocket. That was the bet that I made. And also, by the way, because I've been looking at Ariana Grande's stories throughout the last few days, she's using an iPhone 16 Pro. So
she's been busy.
Somebody get Ariana Grande a new phone. All right, someone do this for her. So maybe she likes a 16. I don't know, but I feel like she would also dig the new phone too. So I've had my iPhone Pocket for like 5 or 6 days. This is not a complicated product. Like,
well, it's a piece of cloth,
no.
So it's a piece of cloth. So
it is a piece of cloth.
Yeah.
It isn't. There isn't gonna, like, I don't have for you like a grand revelation about this item, but it is an effective item at doing what it should do. So I have the short version. I could see that the long version of this would be more useful to most people than the short version, because that's the one you can actually wear around your body. And you could still do with that one what you do with this one, which is like tie it onto things. Like realistically, the short version, you would either carry it like a purse in your hand, or you can kind of loop it around itself and tie it onto things. You could do that with the long version too. But I knew that this wasn't going to be something that I would wear, so I didn't want to spend the money, and also the colors were boring. Also, by the way, it's all sold out. This all sold out. So like, there is this funny thing of like, there are lots of takes and lots of criticisms, but also they sold all of them. So, take that for what it is, I guess. This is a well-made item. I think that it looks good. The color that I got is good. I think that it can be worn very stylishly. If you search for iPhone Pocket on Instagram, you see lots of very stylish, fashionable people making this thing look cool, if you ask me. But still, though, if you looked at this and thought it was ridiculous, I do not think there is anything that could convince you that it is not ridiculous, right? Like I don't think that there is anything to this product that would make you like feel like, oh, actually, I could be turned around on this. Like, I think if you had a very harsh reaction to it, that nothing's gonna change that. Putting the iPhone into the iPhone Pocket takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you do, I can very easily see how something like this could become second nature to someone. Like in the way that, like, I have a pair of chinos that have a particular pocket for my iPhone inside of the pocket. So like inside of my main pocket, there's a little zip, and you unzip the zipper and put your phone in and zip it in, so your phone's not going to fall out of your pocket. When I first started doing that, it took me a while to get used to the action of unzip, take out, put back in, zip up. But now I don't even think about it, right? Like it's just become something my hands do. I feel like that the same thing would happen here. You take your phone, you kind of like slide it into one side in the opening, and then you can essentially do the same on the other, and it just falls into the pocket itself. Getting it out is super easy. You just kind of squeeze the bottom and it comes out. It reminds me of John Syracuse used to put his phone in a little sock. If anybody may have seen him do that, I know we've seen him do that, and he's spoken about it a lot. You know what, Syracuse, this is probably for you. You know what I mean? I don't know if I don't recall what he thought of this product, but I actually, in using it, this is definitely for John Syracuse. So the material feels nice, and it's very stretchy, like it's elasticated. So you can put other stuff in this thing with your iPhone. I put my AirPods in there. I could put a wallet in there, and it all just stretches around it. Like
a little snack.
And you could put a snack in there.
Yeah.
I put a Sidekick Pocket Notepad in there, which was fun. Put the orange notepad inside of the orange iPhone Pocket. That went well for me. It's you can fit more in there, and like so, I imagined I would. I could put this in like a travel kit or something. Like if I'm on a plane, and then I could like hang my phone up and like I could charge it or whatever. Like I thought like that in me trying to imagine where am I going to use this thing that I now own. Like I could imagine, or like you're in a tiny hotel room and there's nowhere to put your phone. You could like hang it from a lamp or something. I don't know. Like it's hangable. Your phone becomes hangable, and you could just put your phone in upside down and plug it in. You could do something like that with it. The packaging for the iPhone Pocket was quite interesting. It's like it comes in a very long package, like very long, and it's like this kind of like envelope with a handle on the top. And the box that comes in had a space for the handle that it was hung on. The cardboard box was really heavy, but it was just cardboard. But there was just like so much cardboard in this box to be able to kind of like hang it properly. The front of the packaging has got a huge Myke logo. And on the reverse side is like all of the Apple stuff that you would find on the back of an Apple product. So their logo, all the barcodes, and like the text that they put, like the regulatory text, that was all Apple. So that was interesting. It was like a combo, mixture between the two. So my ultimate feeling on this product, the iPhone Pocket, is the same as I felt about it last week, right? Which is, this looks interesting. I find it interesting, and I'm always intrigued and excited by Apple doing things that are weird, like, because I care about looking at this company, right? Like I've made a career out of it, like we all have, and trying to understand the decisions that they make is kind of one of the things that we all enjoy the most. And I've found it interesting over the last week or so to try and think about why have they done this. And the main thing that I came to is the same as I did last time, which is just like there are just enough people, including Alan Diamsov, who are very focused on fashion at Apple. And the idea of being able to do this collaboration with a very well-renowned fashion house was intriguing to them. Maybe Myke came to them with it. Maybe Apple went to them with it. But like there is this fashion thing that they're doing. And clearly, Apple have a new obsession of iPhone wearing. It is something that they are very focused on. They are finding many ways for people to be able to display their iPhone. Like that is like a thing that they want people to do. And this is just another example of that. So there is everything that you need to know about this product. You can understand from an image of it, other than the way it feels. And the way it feels like a very nice, very well-made thing. Does it feel as expensive as the price? No, but that is fashion, right? Like you just have to feel happy about what you've bought, and if you care about such things, nobody else can buy it now. So if you have one, you have one. So that's my review of the iPhone Pocket.
Wow. Thank you.
I'm assuming the answer to this is no, but any questions?
No.
Were you both just be honest? Were you both just checking RSS?
No, I was.
Okay. You could be honest with me.
No, thanks for taking one for the team.
I have 15 unread items in my RSS.
So many how many I have?
Did you have 25 4 minutes ago?
No, it's actually just staring blankly at the screen, just taking in the thoughts.
The big review. Big review.
29.
I have no reactions, honestly.
That is perfectly fine. It's that time of year again. Apple have announced the finalists for the App Store Awards. I want to run through these real quick. This has always been a bit of a mixed bag, the awards thing.
A mixed pocket.
There were years where none of us had ever heard of any of the apps, which I don't think is a bad thing, but it was just a thing. So iPhone App of the Year finalists this year: BandLab, which is a music making app; Ladder, which is a strength training app; and Timo, which is a to-do app, which I'd never heard of. Have any of you ever heard of Timo?
Nope.
Apparently, they won an ADA, or they were a finalist for an ADA last year. But yeah, I'm going to look at this one because it's I like to do apps, so that's one to look at, I guess. iPhone Game of the Year: Capybara Go, Pokemon TCG Pocket, and Thronefall. Thronefall I wasn't familiar with. It looks kind of like a tower defense-y kind of game.
Yeah, a Little Kingdom. Never seen it before.
No, but it looks nice. The other ones I have heard of. iPad App of the Year: Detail, which is worked on by one of the True Sons. One of the Voorhees kids works at Detail, which is awesome.
Yes.
Which is it's like a content creation app. I think you could do like captions and editing and that kind of stuff. Grain Touch, which is a art like drawing app, and Structured, which is I don't know what this one is.
Excellent app.
Structured. You like that one?
Yeah. I don't personally use it. Devon, who works at Mac Stories, swears by Structured. He really, really loves Structured.
A daily planner app.
Yeah, it's built for the kind of person who likes to, what's it called? The practice of there's a word. Time blocking? Is that
time blocking? Time blocking.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Time blocking.
Yeah. It lets you plan everything. Integrates with a whole bunch of things. It's on iPad, Mac, Apple Watch. They have a web app now. Integrates with calendar and reminders. Made by a really, really good indie team who recently released for iOS 26 Awake, which is a smart alarm clock that's based on the new Alarm Kit feature.
Okay.
Awake also integrates with Structured. So they have that sort of two-way communication between their apps. Great team. I was really, really pleased to see Structured in here.
See, this is what I'm saying, right? Which is why I think they're doing a better job now. Is like there are multiple apps, like we know people that work on them, as well as things we don't. And it shouldn't be only stuff that we know about, but there should be like small indie companies making apps that get recognized. And I also think they've done a better job with this with the Design Awards too over the last few years. iPad Game of the Year, Dredge, Infinity Nikki, and Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. This is a real smorgasbord, this one.
Truly iPad games, I would say.
Yeah, so Dredge and Prince of Persia were both PC games. Well, they all were. Infinity Nikki I'll come back to. Prince of Persia is sad because it's made by Ubisoft, and Ubisoft shut that team down and then ported it to other platforms, which is heartbreak, because that's a good game, Lost Crown. Infinity Nikki is like one of these games that's everywhere. It's one of these gotcha games. But people like that. Mac App of the Year, Acorn, which you mentioned earlier, Essayist, which is like an academic papers app, and Under My Roof, which is for keeping homeowners organized and prepared. Well, you go check that out. Steven, you should go look at that.
I'm prepared, baby.
You're prepared. I don't. This looks like kind of like an inventory application for your house. I don't know, but Steven's prepared. He doesn't need that. Mac Game of the Year. Let's go. Assassin's Creed Shadows actually came out, like legit came out in the year, which is a first. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition, which will win, and Never, which is a beautiful game that came out.
Never will win. Never will win.
You think so?
I think so.
No, I think Cyberpunk's going to win because Apple was just so grateful that they brought that to the platform. Apple Arcade Game of the Year, Katamari Damacy Rolling Live. Okay. PGA Tour Pro Golf, and What the Clash.
Okay. Yeah.
Apple Vision Pro App of the Year.
Yeah, this was tough to put together this list.
Camo Studio, which I was like, come on, what are you doing? And actually, it is like it is a streaming app where you use your persona. And my theory is this exists so people, because I saw recently, I think it was iJustine did a podcast inside of Vision Pro with people who work at Apple.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like I feel like something like Camo Studio exists so things like that can be made. But yeah, D-Day the Camera Soldier, which I heard was like, I haven't played this one, but it's like an immersive storytelling app. And Explore POV, which is like Apple immersive videos filmed around the world. You can go through a bunch of stuff there for, I guess, people who are making these things themselves. Game of the Year for Vision Pro, Fishing Haven, Gears and Goo, and Portanubi. Apple Watch App of the Year, Go Club, which is a hydration and activity app. Pro Camera by Moment, so it's like a camera shutter application, like a timer. And Strava, everyone knows Strava. Apple TV App of the Year. What is worse, Apple TV App of the Year or Vision Pro App of the Year?
I mean, looking at...
It's Apple TV, right?
HBO Max. Come on.
HBO Max.
Have you used that TV
Kids,
app?
PBS Kids, and Super Farming Boy 4K.
One day I'll be a super farming man.
Yeah, this reminds me of when people would put HD behind their app name for the iPad.
Yep.
We had simpler times, you know? Then there was the Cultural Impact finalists. There's a bunch here. So Art of Fauna, A Space for the Unbound. This is a mixture of apps and games. Be My Eyes, Chance of Sonar, Despelote, Focus Friend, Is This Seat Taken, which is a great game. Retro, Storygraph, Venba, Who's Call, and Yuka. So there's like some games there. There's some apps there for like accessibility and privacy and focusing and stuff like that. So it's a decent list. And I guess later on in the year they'll announce the winners, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, soon it should be, I think.
No Mac Story Selects Awards though. You know what I'm saying?
Not yet.
No, I mean like it's nothing on that.
I mean, obviously.
That's where the real action is.
Obviously.
Get a clear trophy. All I want is an Apple Design Award in my collection. You know, whether we earn it. Why would
you get one?
Whether we earn it at Widgetsmith or someone sends me one. I had a lead on one like 8 years ago. Someone was going to their company had dissolved and they were going to just mail it to me and they never did.
Stephen, there's unfortunately to let you know something.
Mm-hmm.
If CrossForward ever wins a design award, you are not going to be the person.
No, I know. No, I know.
who has that.
But maybe we could share it, you know?
Like Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Underscores.
I mean, if you want to help us win
Saturdays,
an ADA, check out the jobs link in the show notes. This isn't the
that
ADAs.
is great.
I've now mixed 2 awards.
Yeah, you have.
While we're speaking about
maybe
awards,
this one
though,
too, though. This one as well would also be nice. Stephen doesn't want this award. He only wants an ADA.
because it's a
I
cube
would
of
take this
aluminum.
But surely they give you something for this, don't they?
A
Isn't this? Don't
certificate.
they give you the logo of the App Store made
Yeah,
out of aluminium?
I think so. Did y'all see that Tyler, the Creator, got the Apple Music Artist of the Year
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't see that.
right before we published?
Well, that's probably why I didn't see it.
It was not Billie Eilish again.
I think she only won it one time.
Someone won it twice.
Really?
No, I think it was twice. Yeah.
Music.
Eilish,
creator.
Apple Music.
Mm. Mm-mm.
Oh man, this is impossible.
2024 and 2019.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Congrats.
Congrats. Hey, guess what?
What?
Well,
It's the holidays. You know what that means?
Okay.
The Relay Holiday Sale. Are you excited?
I'll be excited if people go to giverelay.com and become a member or gift that membership to somebody else.
Yes, that would be very exciting. All annual plans to membership are 20% off until December 31st. That makes a show like Connected Pro, which is the ad-free and longer version of the show that we do each and every week, basically $1 an episode. I mean, come on. That's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal. Do you think it's a good deal, Myke?
I think it's a great deal because not only are you supporting one of the shows that you love, you're getting additional content. And you don't have to do advertising anymore. Like you won't hear us talk about this. You know, maybe you don't want to hear this anymore. If you're like, oh man, are they going to talk about this every week? The answer is yes. and a way that you can get away from that is by going to giverelay.com and signing up for a membership and supporting Connected Pro, and then the advertising is removed. You don't have to hear us talk about these things anymore. You don't have to hear any of Stephen's wonderful ads. You don't have to hear them. And you get additional fun stuff. Like we talk about all kinds of fun things. We have very long-running bits that only occur in Connected Pro, and you could get all of that. Imagine all the bits that you're missing. Just go to getconnectedpro.co, use 2025 holidays at checkout, or go to giverelay.com and learn more.
iPad OS 26 just keeps on giving. 26.2 beta restores some more old features. Federico, what's going on?
yeah. So the idea is that they're making it easier to create split views on iPadOS 26.2 by sort of replicating the old gesture-based system from iPadOS 18. One of the criticisms that I saw when iPadOS 26 was introduced from a lot of people who used to rely on split view and slide over was that Apple was making it too difficult to just split the screen in two, for example. If you just wanted to have a split screen UI with one app on one side and another app on the other side. And sure, you have the menus and you have the keyboard shortcuts, but a lot of people, I guess, they just wanted to have the older system where you could just pick up an icon from the dock, drop it somewhere on screen, and create a split view with two simple sort of flick gestures. That used to be a whole thing. Like there's been over the years a whole conversation about the iPad and about how multitasking was sort of implemented. Some people found those gestures very easy to use. But for a lot of people, those gestures were also confusing because they accidentally got into a multitasking state that they didn't know how to get out of. It appears that Apple is now sort of trying to find a balance of all the multitasking systems that they have had over the years. So now, whether you're using the new iPadOS 26 windowing or Stage Manager, you can now drop windows on screen with the same old gestures from before. So from the dock, from Spotlight, from the app library too, I think, you can start dragging an icon and it'll morph into the familiar sort of rectangle shape. Now, what's different here is that they are using a visual indicator to signify what's going to happen when you let go of the rectangle that you're dragging. If you recall, in iPadOS 26.1, they brought back slide over. And they brought back slide over with this UI element, this little translucent pull-in indicator that when you hit the slide over window, you would see this pull-in indicator at the edge of the display. Now, that UI element is being used to tell you visually that when you let go of a rectangle, of a window that you're dragging, it's going to become either a split view or a slide over. So, as with anything iPad multitasking, this is really hard to describe in a podcast. I'm going to try my best. You pick up an icon from the dock in 26.2. You start dragging. The icon becomes a window rectangle. When you go to either the left or the right sides and sort of enough toward the edge of the screen, the pull-in indicator comes up. When the pull-in indicator comes up, it means that if you let go, you're going to create a split screen. You're going to create a split screen on the left or the right. However, if you actually drag the icon onto the pull-in indicator, it's going to have a little animation and you're going to create a slide over instantly. So you get to choose basically. Do you want to drop the window near the indicator? That's going to create a split view. You're going to drop the icon inside the indicator that is going to morph and play a little container animation. It's going to become a split view. It's going to become a slide over. I mean, if you are familiar with these gestures, it is an easier way to quickly create a split view on screen. Just pick up Safari, drop it on the left, pick up Notes, drop it on the right. You have a split screen UI with Safari and Notes on screen. You could have done this with a keyboard shortcut. You could have done this with the shortcuts action. You could have done this with a menu. Now you can also do it again, because this is an old feature. You can do it again with drag and drop. That's sort of the idea.
Now, tell me if I'm wrong, because I was playing around with this today. You seem to only be able to do this when you open an app. Like if I had an app open, I couldn't seem to drag it to the side.
When is it that you don't have apps open? When you're on the home screen?
Sorry, okay, so I've got Mail open, right?
Yeah.
It felt like I couldn't take that and just drag, I'm already looking at it, that I couldn't drag it to the side. It wasn't working for me. It's only if I dragged it from the dock.
So you want to drag the window, the actual window of Mail.
Yeah.
In that case, you need to flick it to the side of the screen.
Oh my God. Okay.
What I'm referring to applies to dragging icons.
Yeah, dragging from the dock or dragging from Spotlight.
From Spotlight.
Why can't I do? I mean, I know you don't know the answer to this, but why? I mean, I feel like they need to consolidate that.
Yeah, they have those flick gestures for Windows, which I personally find a little hard to use because getting the momentum or like the acceleration of your finger just right can be a little challenging, and I agree with you. It would just be better if you could just like start dragging a window. Maybe, I don't know, do a little shake of the window and you trigger a split view somehow. I don't know. But they have those flick gestures for actual windows on screen that I find kind of challenging to use. But yes, the drag and drop behavior that I just described applies to dragging icons. So you start dragging an icon, it turns into that rectangle preview. I'm not even sure there's a name for the rectangle preview. It's not really a preview. It's like a blurred rectangle that changes shape. And they've done that forever, right? These rectangles that change their shapes. And depending on the shapes, you know what it means. Now, though, they have that little triangle on the left side of the screen that is easier to understand than, a rectangle changing the shape ever so subtly under your finger. So at least they're showing you an icon on screen. But yeah, that's how it works. I guess what's interesting is that they haven't stopped listening to feedback for iPadOS 26 yet. And I don't know, I had this thought this week of like iPad multitasking, to borrow a term from the AI world, multimodality. But iPad multitasking is the most multimodal version of multitasking that Apple has ever made. Because when you think about it, you have the Mac-like traffic light buttons, and then you have a menu bar, and then you have keyboard shortcuts, and then you have shortcuts actions. You have flick gestures. Now you have actual drag and drop gestures. Like you have so many different ways to engage with multitasking that you just, obviously on the Mac, you cannot have all of those, which makes me wonder if they're doing all this work because the Mac is also going to be a multimodal multitasking machine at some point, maybe later next year with touch. But right now, the iPad is the richest version of multitasking that they have. They support everything: menus, keyboard, touch, shortcuts, whatever. They have it all. Which, I mean, is an accomplishment in and of itself, really. No other company has this sort of ecosystem on a tablet. It's impressive. It can also be confusing for people because you have all these options.
Yeah.
But I'm always going to be in the camp of it's better to have a lot of options than have nothing at all.
It's like it's better to have a lot of options and have to explain them than just to disappoint people.
Just to say, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It feels like, like I think I saw Steve Troughton-Smith say that, like, they've done more in the last 2 months than they ever did during the Stage Manager era.
Yeah.
But what I think that is an important thing, because I think the speed at which Apple is iterating and adding new features suggests that the underlying technology of the new windowing system is much more capable and
it's working.
And workable. Yeah. That going back to the drawing board was actually very important, because they're actually now able to address the frustrations that people are having, rather than what they had before, which was just like, oh, sorry, like, we'll rewrite it, I guess. Like, is essentially what we got to. I will say that even on this new version, I'm just going to complain again here, the keyboard shortcuts are still just not working the way that they should be, I think. Like, I'm still getting, they're still like, Command H seems to hide an app, not go home. So like if again, this is Stage Manager problems, maybe just like gets rid of whatever app is the active app rather than going to home. And if I quit an app, it still shows in the Stage Manager preview area rather than actually going away. So please, Apple, please revert whatever it was you were doing keyboard shortcut wise to like the 26 version, 26.0. I like that you've added more keyboard shortcuts, but let's just like refine them a little bit and test them out. Stage Manager would be awesome. But yeah, I think it's really interesting that they're continuing to make more and more tweaks to this system and adding in the things that people wanted. I hope that this will be enough for the split view slide over people, like that this will be enough, but I feel like it won't be, but I feel like this is a pretty decent. I think this is a decent compromise.
Yeah, I think so.
And I mean, we talked about this on the next MPU is all about iPadOS 26. But one thing we talked about on that episode is at least it's still modal. Like you can use it one app at a time, or you can use Stage Manager, or you can use all of this new stuff. And the iPad has to remain simple while also growing for power users, and I think that's tough. But there is something funny about Apple having all these different versions of window management. I mean, it's even a bigger example than macOS. I mean, macOS has Spaces and Expose and Mission Control, and all of these things, but they all are kind of on the same level, same playing field. Where the iPad is it's like different roads you can go down. And I think that's good, but there is also something fun, just a little bit funny about it, that the iPads can work in drastically different ways depending on your preferences.
But maybe that's a good thing.
I think it is.
Again, it's like the Mac you can set up in so many ways to do exactly what you want it to do. And it's tweakable and hackable in a way to really get it the way that you want. So if we're not going to be able to do that with the underlying platform of what iPadOS is, at least Apple providing lots of options for people to be able to use the device is the best way to be. Like, Apple should at least give me lots of ways in which I can manage it, which they are, right? You've got like single app mode, you've got multiple window mode and stage manager, and then within the two multitasking modes, you can just drag things around however you want, you can resize them however you want, you can use this new split view thing if you want to, but you don't need to. You can also do this with keyboard shortcuts and the green button and all this kind of stuff. It is nice now. Maybe you mentioned this, Federico, and I missed it, but it's better than the old split view because you have infinite resizability between the two windows, which you didn't have before. It was like there were set periods, and now you can make it as much as you want. So that is a benefit to people who were using split view. I feel like now you can really like make the split that makes the most sense between the two windows, which wasn't always the thing that you could do. So yeah, it's fascinating to see. I mean, I'm sure that this is very intriguing to you, Federico, like that they keep playing around with this. I guess this is exactly the kind of thing that you would want to see as someone who's cared so much about this platform.
Yeah, so far, yes. I want to see.
And it feels like Craig is living up to his end of the bargain from what he spoke to you about.
I think so. I want to see how it keeps going. Is it just a blip, or does it actually keep going?
No, it'll end. I mean, it has to end at some point because they have to start getting 27 ready. Like, they can't, get to a certain time, and they're not going to keep adding new features to this, and they could just keep them for 27. I think they're just trying to get it to a point where they're trying to make the most people the most happy, right? And I think this will probably get them there, 26.2, because they've added in, a version of the existing features, plus they've not made any regressions to the people that like the new stuff. So I would expect that this will probably be the last multitasking change of any significance we'll see in the 26 cycle, and then maybe we'll see something new for iOS 27.
Yeah.
Is it possible that, yes, I think Apple is like following up on what Craig and Federico talked about, and they're improving this, but like, are they also just like lost in the woods with this redesign? I mean, adding slide over back, adding this back, like, is it listening to customers, or is it they made bad decisions they're now undoing, or does that distinction not really matter?
I don't know, as long as the features are good.
Yeah, but I think I get what you're saying of like, the new system allowed for this with seemingly not a lot of effort from their part, considering the speed at which they've iterated.
Sure, yeah.
Should they have thought of this? And if they could have provided it, why didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, I think, is that what you're getting at?
I think so. I mean, it's the speed is definitely one thing that makes me think, like, was this in the works and just not finished, or was it easy to re-implement?
We have no way of knowing, right?
No.
We just assume, they're listening to people, but maybe that was the plan all along, and we're just inferring that they're listening to people because we want to feel good about ourselves, because we are people. While in fact they just had this plan, and we're just saying, "Oh, look, it's about us," but it really isn't. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit unusual, but I guess you're right. As long as at the end of the day, the features that people want and depend on an iPadOS, as long as they're there, like, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just kind of maybe a funny distinction to consider.
Yeah.
Well, I think that does it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. As a reminder, we do have the holiday sale going on for memberships. Go to giverelay.com and you'll get 20% off any annual plan. Connected Pro is the version we do. It's ad-free with extra content. Go check it out. If you want to find more of us, you can find us on the internet. Federico is the editor-in-chief of MacStories.net. Federico, what's going on towards the end of the year for y'all?
I have a story coming out in a few minutes.
Ooh.
Whoa.
About some follow-up to the M5 iPad Pro.
Minutes from whenever you're listening to this, which is the interesting part.
It's already out.
No, this is relative to the listener. So give it, from when you're hearing this, give it 2 minutes and then go check Mac Stories.
And you will find it.
And you will find it.
Yeah. And then we have Mac Story Selects coming up, obviously. So that's
gonna be exciting.
Fun. Yeah.
You can, Myke. What about you? What do you have going on?
Black Friday. That's what's going on with my life. We're doing our first ever sale at Cortex Brand over the Black Friday period. So
okay,
preparing for that.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't really know what to expect, but you know, we're retail. You know, that's what we do in retail. Apparently,
I guess so.
I'm doing it.
I guess so.
I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna see what happens.
Okay. And you can find Myke's writing over at theenthusiast.net every Friday, sometimes more often.
Every Friday. Whether they're black or not, it doesn't matter to me. Green Friday, I'll do it.
What do I have going on? I don't know. I'm working on stuff.
I'm just kicking around.
I'm just doing things, you know. Thanksgiving's next week. I won't be here next week, but y'all will be here. The show will be out a day later next week because of Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Probably
There's a very funny moment where Steven said to me, "You're not going to record next Thursday, are you?" I'm like, "Why wouldn't I?" He's like, "Well, because we can't have Jim edit on Thanksgiving." I'm like, "Oh yeah, so we'll record on Thanksgiving, and the episode will come out the next day."
Yep. So that'll be going on. Check out that Mac Power Users episode on Sunday. It's a good one, and I think dovetails nicely with our conversation here today. And you can find my writing at 512pixels.net. I'd like to thank our sponsor this week, Ecamm, for supporting the show. And until next time, guys, say goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.
Bye, y'all.